Hey friends, it's Brandy here again, and I have another Discord walkthrough for you for On the Wings for Writers server on Discord. If you check the info dump below this video, you will find a link to join the server as well as a link to something I'm going to show you here during the video. So today is all about commands. Discord server has bots. We have a writing bot and we have a chat bot. There's also a plant bot. But I'm going to show you how to use the writer bot, which we lovingly call Snarky, simply because if you don't put the command in right, Snarky kind of yells at you. So I'm going to walk through how to use the commands to set up projects, set your goals, and use the writing bot to join sprints or start sprints, whatever the case may be. So let's jump right in and get to making some magic. Here we are back in the video walkthrough channel of the Discord server. You can see here we have our little picture. Now you will see here that there's two different pictures. This one for MEE6, that is just the main chat bot. It gives you experience every time you send a message, a picture, whatever, and we level up throughout the month. And then at the end of each month, it gets reset, and it's just a fun way to see who's being the most chatty. So the second one is the one we're really going to look at today, which is Snarky Bot is Snarky. That is renamed from Writer Bot, and this is the one we use to set up our projects and our goals and do the sprints with. So there are a few fun things with Snarky, like you can ask it a question, you can ask for a challenge, you can ask the 8-ball, you can flip a coin. There are different fun things there. You can get a quote from it just to see how things are going. So what we're going to focus on really today is the goal and project. Oops, if I can get it highlighted here. Project, and then sprint, and also wrote. The help is how I got this to come up. It is, if you see here, it's just this little exclamation point help. All the commands start with an exclamation point. Now, I have a really bad habit of saying I instead of the exclamation point. So if I happen to slip up and say I really meant exclamation point. But all of them start with the exclamation point, no matter what you're doing. So let's get started first with this extra page here. And this is from github.com. This is a web page that has all of the quick links for the writing commands that we use. So the top one is ask, and then challenge, and then to set an event, and then to generate character names, places, things like that. And then we get to goal. So in the Discord server, you can set a daily, weekly, and monthly, monthly, and or yearly goal. To do that, it's really easy. You can see up here, this is the format. And then each of these CMDs are going to be a command argument. So we'll pop this back up, and you would come over here, you would type I, goal, set, monthly, and then you could put in a number. And then when you do that, it sets it, and it tells you down here that you set a monthly goal to 50,000 words, and it resets on the first of every month. And you do that the same way with you would just replace monthly with daily, weekly, or yearly, and then replace the number with the number you want. If you do just exclamation goal, to give Snarky a minute because he's been overused with Nano last month. So when you do iGoal, it brings up a list of what you have for your goal. So my daily goal right now is set to 2175, which is what I needed par for Nano to get to 50K, which sadly I did not do. My weekly goal is set to 15,000. Obviously, I just set my monthly goal to 50,000, and I did not set a yearly goal because I joined the server in August. So January 1st, I might set a yearly goal for next year just to have some fun. So goals are real easy. We're gonna pop back over to the screen, and again, it tells you would just, if you look at this, you would just take these words and put an exclamation point in front of it, and it would cancel that monthly goal if you had set one. So then we're going to go down to projects. Projects can be a little more confusing to set up simply because there are so many what they call arguments, the command arguments. So you have create, delete, rename, update, view, description, image, status, link, and genre. I'm going to be honest. I have never added an image or a link to any of the projects I set up. So I'm going to scroll this down just a little bit so you can see here the examples that they show are creating a project, the Sword and the Stone. And you'll see here that it's got project create, sword, the sword and the stone. Now what this does is it creates a project with a long name, the sword and the stone, and a short name of just sword. This is important for like when you're joining sprints, and I'll explain that after we get through going through all of the project stuff. So and then this one would be, you could delete that project. Here would be a rename. Here this one, project update sword to 65,000, that updates the word count for that particular project, just that specific project. Project list to view all of the projects that you have set up in Discord, and then project view sword would be just for that particular project. And then the description and image. Your status is going to be if it's planning, progress, editing, finished, published, or if you've abandoned the project. And then the genres are the main genres: fantasy, sci-fi, romance, horror, fiction, nonfiction, short, mystery, thriller, and crime. And then if you have a link to your book, you can put it in there as well. So we're going to hop over to the server again. And I just happen to need to create a new project. So here we go. I'm going to do exclamation project create. And then I'm going to do murder for the short name, and then murder under a full moon. So there, you can see here, I put in the super long command, and then it tells me that I created murder under a full moon, with murder in parentheses being my short name. So after we have done this, now I want to set some other parts. So I'm going to do, I see, I did it. Exclamation project genre, and we're going to put this as a mystery. We have to be patient with. Oh, here's a perfect example of Snarky being snarky. It says, I do not have a project with the short name mystery. So what I did is I forgot to put in my name of my project. So go back, add murder behind genre. Now my project genre is set to mystery for murder under a full moon. So there's why you can see Snarky is kind of particular about his commands. So that is the basic. I now have the basic thing set up so I can do exclamation project view murder, and there is what I have set for murder under a full moon is the status, the genre, and the word count. Now it automatically put the status to in progress. I want to change that. Status murder planning. Give it a second. Maybe 30 seconds. Oh, I know why it's not doing it. I put progress instead of project. Oh my goodness. Exclamation point project status murder planning. Let's try that. There we go. Now the project is set to research or planning. See, I've been using the bot for months and I still mess up. It's kind of funny sometimes when you do. So now that we have the project set up, I'm going to pull it up to view again so you can see how it changed. Oh, my typing today is awful. It's not going to do it either because I put projects. Let's see if I can keep the system here. I cannot cheat the system. So this just shows you that even somebody who has been in the server for months still messes up using SnarkyBot. I feel like I spelled project wrong. Nope. Okay, so there we go. There's the updated status for my my project. And you can change these emojis if you want to change them to something else. So now that we've set up a project and we know how to set up a goal, what do we do next? Let's head back over to our writing commands, and we're going to look at these sprint commands. The sprint commands are complicated when you just look at them, but once you start using them, they're actually really easy. There are really two main sprint commands. Exclamation sprint join, which will join you in the chat in the sprint with 0 words, or exclamation sprint join edit, which will add you to the sprint. You just won't get a word count at the end. So those are the two most simple of the two to use. Now, we do start sprints often. I'm going to roll this down here so you can see the examples. I sprint for 20 and 3 is a very common command. We often do 20-minute sprints and we'll set them 2 or 3 minutes apart so that you have a little bit of a break in between to get up and move around and stuff. So for this, it's that simple. You do exclamation point sprint for 20 and 3. It will set it up for you in the channel. If you want to join with words, then you would do pretty much the same thing. Exclamation point, join, and then you would put a word count. In this case, they used 100, and that would start you at the sprint with a word count of 100 words. And then when you end the sprint, you put in your sprint total, and then it tells you the difference, and that's how many words you wrote for the sprint. If you want to sprint with a word count in a specific project, that is where you need your short name from your project setup. So as you can see here, this one is sprint join 100 sword. So they are joining the sprint with 100 words in their project short named sword, and all of the words that you write during that sprint will count only towards that project. So it won't, it will count into there as something you wrote that you don't have to update later. It automatically updates that word count for you when you sprint with the specific project. I sprint join same. I'm sorry, exclamation point, sprint join same. That joined you into the next sprint with the exact same number that you ended with. Or if you were editing, if you use the edit, it will rejoin you back in to the new sprint still as editing rather than with the word count. So you can see here the sprint word count 250, that's your ending. So at the end of the sprint, it will say you have 2 minutes to put in your word counts. You will type exclamation point sprint word count and then however many total words you have. And then it will tell you the difference and tell you how many words you wrote for that sprint. Some of these other commands for sprinting, you can cancel the sprint, which will cancel whatever sprint has been scheduled. You can leave the sprint. Say you joined the sprint because you thought you had time to run one, and then all of a sudden you need to run out to the store. You can do sprint leave, and it will leave that sprint. And there's no penalty for leaving a sprint at all. Sprint time tells you how much time is left on any sprint that's currently running. Sprint Notify will put you on a list to be notified whenever someone starts a new sprint or schedules a sprint. If you don't want to be spammed with notifications, I would not do that because it does tell you every time. And then if you do sprint forget, it will take you off of that list. Sprint status shows your current word count on the sprint. And then sprint purge is mostly just like a mod admin thing. We do it if we need to purge the server of any extra notifications left over. So I'm going to come over here and they're writing or they're using the sprint bot right now. So I don't want to affect what they're doing in the bot. So I can't really start a sprint to show you how that works in the server. Again, trying to protect other people's privacy and whatnot. But I can type in a couple. I can type in a couple of commands and show you what's going on. So if you'll give me, I know what I can do. We're going to downsize this. There's going to be a black screen for just a couple minutes. They are not currently using the sprint bot. So here we are back. I'm going to type sprint, I'm just going to do a 2-minute sprint just so we can kind of see how things are going. I sprint for 2 in 2. So here is the command. I sprint for 2 in 2. And if I were in the bot, it would start a sprint. It may not start one in here since it's not the writing bot. Oh, there it is. A new sprint has been scheduled. So here you can see that some people have been asked to be notified of when a sprint starts. And then I'm going to do the exclamation sprint join 100 murder. So now it's telling me that my starting word count has been set to 100 and I am sprinting in the project murder under a full moon because I used my short name of murder when I put in the command. And now it's only a 2-minute sprint. I'm going to go ahead and do sprint cancel since we're not actually going to run a sprint right now. And I just canceled the sprint. So there is some of the basic how to start it, how to join it with a word count and a project name. To do it without the project name, you would just put in the sprint join 100. If you didn't have a word count, it would just be sprint join. And you would get the same little message there that says you are now sprinting with 0 words or with however many words you put in. So the last little, pull my other sheet back up here. So the last one that I'm going to kind of walk through real quick is this wrote command. This comes in handy when Snarky doesn't tell you that you wrote during a sprint. And sometimes it happens. Last month during Nano, so many people were using writer bots that it kept crashing. And we actually ended up using a completely different system to do sprints. And then we would just go in and type in how many words we wrote. So, for example, let's say we had been doing sprints and writing, and I wrote 575 words on my project murder. I would come in and I would type !wrote 575 words, short name murder, and then Snarky would come up and say, I have added words to my project Murder Under a Full Moon, 575 words. So that's how you can use that wrote command if you don't get a tally in the sprint with the bot, or if you're writing separately from the bot. We also use that command for the 5-minute challenge and the writing challenge. If you write something and you want those words to count towards your daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly goal, even if you don't share what you wrote, you can still put in that wrote command to get credit for those words that you wrote. If you need to take words off, it's just the exact opposite. You would do !wrote minus the number of words that you had to take off, and then either the short name or if you just put it in the wrong place. Sometimes we put like this normally would go in the Writing with Snarky or the Current Work in Progress channels, but if you put it in a different channel, it's not really a big deal. We don't have craziness happen. It's just what it is. So that is a semi-quick walkthrough of the bots that we have in the server. Now there are some fun things to do, like I said, with the generate and the event when events are happening, and the challenges. And you're welcome to play with those if you want. I know there is one that is !reassure, and it gives you kind of an uplifting reassurance message. So if you have any questions about any of these commands, I know that is a lot to take in and a lot to kind of figure out, but I hope this video helps. It will always be here for you to refer back to. And we are all there for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we will be happy to help you get in that right command. I mean, you saw for yourself, even those of us who have been using it for months, we still put in the wrong thing once in a while. It's easy to do. All right. I hope everybody has a great day, evening, weekend, whatever the case may be when you're watching this, and I look forward to seeing you in the server. Thanks, guys.